Now it's the off season, and it's time to talk about ways to improve your wrestling skills. Whether you're a new wrestler looking to just make the varsity's team next year, or you're a great wrestler looking to win another state title, I'm here with Brendan to talk about how you can improve in the off season. So let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. Hello everybody and welcome to the Fanco Wrestling Show. My name's Josiah.
And I'm Brendan.
And we're here to talk about the best ways to improve in the off season. And make sure, if you're new here, to subscribe because we talk all about wrestling news, tips, and lifestyle. Today's wrestling tips we're getting into with Brendan are, how do you improve in the off season? And Brendan, he has a couple of ways that he thinks you can improve. And what's one of these first ways that you think is a great way to improve over the summer?
Sorry to cut you off there, but so the most important thing that I see during the off season is definitely hitting your clubs. Going to clubs, there's a lot of good competition. Everyone that goes to clubs wants to be there, wants to get better, and you get a variety of wrestlers from all over your area. And along with that, there's really good coaching too.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of renowned coaches that run clubs, and they're doing that to make you better, to try to get you better, and you get a lot of 1v1 with the coach, and it definitely helps you a lot. Along with that, it kind of takes you to the next step.
The off season is a time where, during the regular season, you're practicing every single day of the week. You're practicing 5 days, and, some guys, they go to the clubs during the regular season as well, which is great. But in the off season, you don't have that regular set practice time, and that's where clubs really come in handy and can really heighten your skills over the summer, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And with that, going to clubs, you can do that during the season, maybe once or twice a week. If you're new to this, if you've never been to a club, I think a great time to start would be during the off season, just because you're not doing as much, just because it's a little bit easier to start during the off season. You're not going to school, you're not maintaining your weight, stuff like that. So if you want to start, I would recommend starting during the off season, maybe when you have some free time. And if you've been to a club, if you've been going to a club, maybe once or twice. I know during wrestling season, me and a couple of my teammates, we would go to a club once or twice a week, just switch up the scene, just to get a little bit more practice in, maintain our weight a little bit better. And with that, clubs are fun, honestly. You meet a lot of cool wrestlers, you meet a lot of cool people. You can qualify for different tournaments. Like the club I went to, we went to Tournament Champions, NHSCAs, and those are a lot of fun. And again, you don't just get competition within your area, but there's guys that go NHSCAs, you get people from all over the country. And you get to wrestle, kind of big name guys that you may not get to wrestle anywhere else.
Yeah, and you look at the college level, a lot of these guys, they come from the same clubs. I always think it's funny whenever you look in the national finals and you see how many of these guys went to Young Guns or wherever the club is, that they all come from that club. They're all training with each other, and that's what really makes them better. Because as we were talking a little bit, some guys who may not have the greatest competition of skill in the room because you're at such an elite level already, that's why you go to those clubs to get better skills.
Absolutely. Like a good example of that is Jason Nolf. He went to a really small AA school, Katanning, who, he's probably the only person you ever heard out of Katanning, if you even know where that is. But he goes to Young Guns and he gets to wrestle kids like Vincenzo Joseph. He gets to wrestle Michael Kemmers, AC Headleys, big names like this. And it's just everyone kind of groups together and you get a lot of really good competition, and there are so many good clubs out there for you guys. I would highly recommend looking at clubs in your area and just checking it out, even if you just go sit in on a practice. I'm sure the coaches will be cool with you doing that. That's what I used to do. And check it out.
Yeah, and it really helps improve your skills over the summer and throughout the season. And with another thing that, related to clubs are wrestling camps. So there are so many different wrestling camps that happen over the summer, whether you're going to a college, a university, Penn State wrestling camp, Ohio State wrestling camp, or you're going to a lot of these guys who they were great wrestlers back in the day, great coaches now. I'm looking at Ken Chertow or a Kerry Kolak camp. These are guys that, they have these great camps, and that's where you have guys from all over the country come in. You have guys from PA, guys from California, guys from Florida, wherever it is, Iowa, that come in and you can train and you can get a little bit of a taste of what those guys are like. Because, in the regular club room, which is phenomenal skill, you have guys from just PA or just Iowa, your local area. And then you go to competitions where you have guys from over the country, but that's where these camps are pretty nice. And you can pick up a couple of great skills, because a lot of times you have the current college wrestlers that are able to help you with a one-on-one experience.
That's a really good point there, is you can talk to current D1 wrestlers that are really good. You can talk to them about what's their current life like, what's your normal day look like during the week, why did you choose this certain school. And it's really cool. I've talked to a lot of really good wrestlers that don't even know who I am, and they are happy to talk to you about whatever you want, wrestling, life, whatever it is, weight maintenance and stuff like that. And I think it was one of the most fun experiences that I had as a wrestler.
Oh yeah.
Going with a couple of my boys to, Penn State, Chertow Camp. There's a lot of good memories. It's a lot of fun.
For sure. And that's what off-season wrestling should be about. It should be about the fun and actually the sport of wrestling and having that wrestling mindset and the wrestling focus. And that's one of the things I've noticed over the years is the guys that are great, they have that wrestling mindset.
Absolutely.
And through that wrestling mindset, you're always thinking about how to improve in the off-season. And they're not thinking about, what do we do over the summer? There's so much fun to do over the summer, whether you're going swimming with your friends, whether you're playing spike ball, whatever it is. But those guys that want to train and get to the next level, they're able to sacrifice for a couple of years and have that wrestling mindset. And that's why I think that's very important to have in the off season.
Absolutely. It's really not that difficult. Off season is a lot more laid back, I would say, than this season. There's a lot less happening. Summertime, you're not in school. So making that sacrifice, it is a sacrifice, but honestly, it's not that bad of a sacrifice. It's still you can still have a lot of fun with it. Something like a mindset is not that time consuming. It's something that you should want to do, in my opinion.
Oh, and you're 100% right, because the other thing too is when you're doing these things, when you're going to clubs, when you're going to camps with your friends, with guys that want to improve, it's not that big of a deal. No. You look at a school, like the guys at Penn State, they're always having fun. And they kind of get joked with about it because they're always having fun. But that's because they're great guys in the room that want to improve and get better. And that's the same thing I see with guys in high school that are on that great level, is they're always looking to be better. And they're able to make those sacrifices. And the other nice thing is when you have that wrestling mindset, it's a little bit easier in the summer at given a couple things, because you don't have school to worry about.
Exactly. You don't have to maintain your weight.
Yes, it is a lot nicer. And what else do you think is something that can help guys improve in the off season?
I think one other thing that is a lot easier in the off season than it is during the season is lifting. I think lifting is a very important part of wrestling. Personally, a lot of the wrestlers that I wrestle with couldn't do it during the season because they have to maintain their weight. They're a little bit lighter and they can't, be on a great meat diet or anything like that and get the calories that you should be getting when you're lifting. So come off season, I think it's important to get on a strict lifting schedule. Maybe get a personal trainer if you really want to, but lifting and building muscle is very important during the off season. And you can carry that weight or carry that strength that you get during the off season into the season. If you're not cutting weight, if you're a bigger guy that doesn't have to cut weight, more power to you. I would recommend lifting during the season, but if you during the season you already have enough on your plate, understandable that you don't have time to lift. During the off season, definitely recommend it.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point in that setting a schedule. So the schedule that you set in the off season can carry into the regular season.
Yeah.
When you lift 2 days a week, you go to a club 3 days a week. When you're doing it in the off season, and then it can carry right into the season, you set up a great goal for yourself to carry on into the regular season, and that can really help you improve and just keep your mind in a wrestling focus, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And along with that, different sports. Playing soccer. I played soccer. I ran cross country, ran track. About that, I think it's nice because it's a change of scene. You're not necessarily in the mat room grinding your head, taking shots nonstop with different wrestlers, which we all love to do, but it can tire out eventually. And just switching the scene, switching the environment to the gym, lifting, playing different sports, even like you said before, playing spike ball with your friends. It's still good for you. You're still getting exercise. You're still working on your stamina. So just a change in scene. Like, don't be afraid to go out and play different sports or just do different activities with your friends.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, because not everybody does just wrestle. And just because you aren't only wrestling doesn't mean you can't be successful. I've seen many athletes that are great at multiple sports, and those skills transfer over to each other, because as long as you're training and as long as you have a good grind going, you're going to improve.
Yeah.
And one more thing that I think, is thinking about your goals. You know, you just came off of a season where maybe you reached your goal, maybe you won that state title, maybe you won your regional title, whatever it is. Maybe you fell short. Maybe you made it to the finals and lost by a couple points. Maybe you got majored. You have to look back on the season and see where you can improve. Think about your strengths, your weaknesses. Were you not taking enough shots? Were you not that skilled at a double leg, or you're only shooting on the right leg where you should be a little bit different and shoot to the left leg every now and then?
Right.
You have to think about where your strengths and weaknesses are and improve upon those. So it's not just about practicing. It's not just practicing to practice. It's practicing to get better and to improve your skills. And that's where I think it's very important to think about what goals you had, where they fell flat, and set them for the upcoming season.
Yeah, your mind's a lot more clear in the off season. You're not in that strict, day-to-day schedule, and you don't have so much on your plate. You can, take a whole day to reflect before you go to a club practice or before you go to a camp and think, what do I want to work on today? Going to your school's practice, you might not have time unless you stay after, which you might not have time to do. So going to a club, or like spending a day just to reflect on, why didn't I get that takedown in the state finals? Why didn't this happen? You can really look back at it, and your mind's a lot more clear during the off season. So you're completely right about that. I totally agree.
Yeah, and I think, the most important thing here is to have fun in the off-season with your friends. So we think some of the best ways to improve in the off-season: joining a club, going to a wrestling camp, having a wrestling focus. Make sure you're lifting and training, whether it's for wrestling or for other sports. Think about your goals and just really have fun. Those are our big tips that we have for improving in the off-season. And make sure, if you're interested in other wrestling tips, subscribe to this channel and check out these other videos. Thanks for watching.